Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I have been struggling to make content and make videos because I procrastinate on it, and I tell myself that my life isn't possibly interesting enough for anybody to want to watch me. And the more I think about that mindset, the more I realize it's absolute dog shit, and I should do what I want to do regardless of the outcome, because it should be about enjoying the moment rather than enjoying the fruits of my labor. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about is I just read Atomic Habits. I think the author's name was James Clear. It was a very good book, and I took a lot from it, and I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to share with people things that I learned from it, and I wanted to document my process of implementing different habits into my life and track any progress that I'm going to make, because I think this is going to be an outstanding, like, big thing. I think this is going to be really important for me and for a lot of other people. If anybody hasn't read it, or if anybody doesn't know the topic at hand, the topic that the book is about. There's ambulances everywhere. I live in a kind of rundown little apartment in the Midwest, and there's always drugs and crime, and it's crazy out here. You can hear cars going up and down on the street behind me and stuff. You can hear the ambulance still, which is insane. I wonder where they're going, actually. There's usually always an ambulance outside of my building because the residents in my building are all elderly and they struggle. Anyways, yeah. So for this video, I don't really have my thoughts gathered. This is just going to be preliminary rambling onto my video, which I want to actually go upstairs in a minute here and gather my thoughts and give you a cohesive rundown of the book and the ideas. But essentially, it all has to do with forming small habits in your life that add up to make a big difference in your life. The smallest things, from like drinking water every morning, and from that you pile on and you do little small things that can improve your life, and over time they make a significant difference on your life. Because a lot of things like this people don't do every day, and people don't just put into their schedule every day. People kind of just go with the flow, and when we do that, we often lose track of our goals, and we don't really know where we want to be versus where we are. And if we change our awareness from just being in the present to thinking about who we want to be, and we actively try to become who we want to be, then that is the only way we're actually going to get anywhere. And I respect that a lot. I think it's very interesting, and I've never heard anybody take on it, and it's probably just because I don't read enough, honestly. So I need to read more. Alrighty, so I'm going to talk more about goals, and one of the main things I took away from this book, one of the most important statements that I took from this book, is actually a whole section that he was talking about. I don't have a physical copy of the book. I read it in audiobook form because that helped me to get it done, and it helped me feel like I was using my time better because I knew when I was going to finish the book and how long it was going to take me to read. And yeah, I would recommend that if you struggle with reading books, if you struggle sitting down and like focusing on a book, put on an audiobook and clean, or like make art or do something, and before you know it, you'll have read an entire book, and there you go, you feel accomplished. So, goals. We always set ourselves with huge goals, and a lot of people, I watch like self-improvement videos and self-cares on videos on YouTube a lot, and a lot of people emphasize placing like importance on huge goals. Like, say I want to have $5,000 in my bank account by the end of 2022. That's like a huge goal, but the goal doesn't really matter. Like, the end goal doesn't really matter. For example, he was on and he was talking about people in the sports, or people in the Olympics, people in Olympics all have the same goals. Like, if you want to run a marathon, you set your goal to run a marathon, and that's amazing. You set your goal to run a marathon. But the thing is, how do we get from where we are now to reach the goal that we want to achieve? It's all about the systems that we have in place to reach it. So if I want to run a marathon at the end of whatever span of time, if I want to run a marathon, who knows, then I'm gonna set that for myself, and I'm gonna say I want to run a marathon. But I'm never gonna actually run a marathon if I don't take the steps that I need to take to run a marathon, like running every day, drinking a lot of water, eating healthy, taking care of myself, I'm never going to get there if I don't have these systems in place to get to the goal that I want to be at. It's all about our systems and our daily life and the little things we do that could make us who we want to be. So that is a very important thing that I wanted to touch on, because a lot of people underestimate their schedules and the systems that they have in their life, and they think about the future, the possibility of the future goals, rather than focusing on the present moment and how we could actively work towards it every moment of every day. Alright, so something I've written down, I have my little journal right here, and I have some notes that I took. Um, uh, this book really also talks about, in becoming who you want to be, you shouldn't, like I said, shouldn't just set large goals like that. I wrote this down. I wrote, decide the type of person I want to be, and number 2, prove it to yourself with small wins. That was a quote from the book directly. It's one of the only quotes I wrote down because I just felt like it was important. So you do want to set your goals. You want to decide who you want to be and where you want to be at, but then you need to prove it to yourself. You need to make it fun to prove it to yourself. You need to, like, make it exciting and engaging to do these things that will get you to where you need to be, and that will help you set up systems, again, that will help you ultimately reach your final goal. Alright, so James also talks about the 1% quite often in this book, and it's something very important that I've never really thought of before, but it makes so much sense. So the main idea of the 1% is that if you get 1% better every day, if you do 1% better, 1% more towards who you want to be, then by the end of the year, or by the end of 5 years or 10 years, you'll be infinitely better than you were when you began. But if you get 1% worse, then obviously you're going to be a lot worse, and you're going to be way farther from where you want to be than where you were when you began. And this is exciting because we all are living life, and life is a very long, drawn-out thing, and we can't just have everything we want exactly when we want it. But if we do these small 1% actions to help us every single day, and we're always trying to be 1% better, then that seems so insignificant that it seems easy. It's like very, very accessible and easy to accomplish getting 1% better. Like, I don't have to clean my entire house today if I want a clean house, but if I sweep and if I take out the trash, then it's one step closer to being where I want it to be, rather than if I sit here and I think, oh, my apartment is so messy and I can't do anything. If I sit here and I think that, then I am getting worse and I'm letting it fall back in. So the 1% is important. Something also he talked about was the discouragement of motivation that people get because of this thing he called the plateau of latent potential. Now, I'm actually going to do a graph. Hold on. Alright, so the plateau of latent potential. Here's this little graph here. This is where we're starting at, and if we're doing these 1% actions every day, my cat's getting me, it's going to be a very slow progress, but then before we know it, it's going to start adding up, and it's going to get better and better and better. And now a lot of people are stuck in this area, right around here in this area, and they're not seeing the progress that they're making, so they'll get discouraged, because you aren't going to notice, if you do little things every day, you're not really going to notice the progress until very, very far down the line. He compared it at one point in the book to breaking a boulder. When you put a, here, I'll draw a boulder. When you're breaking a boulder and you're chiseling it, you put a chisel in it, and you keep hammering it, and you've been hammering this boulder for hours, you know, like they do in the videos. I'm sure you've seen videos on YouTube or TikTok of people breaking rocks, because I see that actually on Facebook a lot, videos from, like, foreign countries of people breaking boulders. Anyways, you'll start to see some little cracks forming in this boulder, and this is about this area. You've been hammering this boulder for 12 hours, and there's only little cracks, but you get to the point about here, and it's been a day. You've been hammering this boulder, and you hit it. This goes in farther, and it breaks the boulder in half, and it falls in half. And that is the progress that you're going to see. But it's not that one final hit that broke the boulder. It's not this hit right here. It's not this action right here, this goal right here. This is not what caused the boulder to break. It is the action leading up to it, all the hammering and all the work that you've done all day, that is what's leaded up to you reaching your goal of breaking the boulder. And I think that that is a very interesting point, and something that we should think about when we lose our encouragement, when we lose our motivation to keep doing all this little pre-work and planning, is that we're not going to notice it quite until we get there. But then once we get there, we're going to have like such accomplishment, such feelings of accomplishment with what we have achieved, and that is actually amazing. Alright, so I still have my notebook out here, and now I'm going to talk about the actual nitty-gritty of habits and how we should like analyze them and incorporate new habits into our lives and how they kind of work. So James gives us this little chart right here, and every habit starts with a cue. So right here is the cue towards your habit. Say, I am stressed out, so I'm going to smoke a cigarette. And then you have a craving. So now I'm thinking about smoking my cigarette. I can't stop thinking about smoking my cigarette. It'd be so satisfying to smoke my cigarette. Yeah, you just get into that motive of craving because you expect something from this cue. The next thing is the response. The response, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to smoke a cigarette, okay? And then we have here the final outcome, which is going to be the reward. I don't really have a reward from smoking cigarettes, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to say that I have relieved my stress. I've got some like serotonin going. I feel better. I feel relieved just because I've accomplished my craving. So I feel good about myself now. That's not a good example because this is technically a bad habit. Now this will repeat itself infinitely with any action that you do, anything you do that is a habit in your life. There's always going to be a cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. Now because of this, we should look at our habits, and we should look at our good habits and our bad habits, and we should analyze them. So what I would recommend doing actually right now is I would make a list. I would take a piece of paper and make a list, and I would write good habits, bad habits, and habits that you want to have. For your good habits, I would write good habits, things that do get you closer to the person that you want to be. For bad habits, I would write anything that you don't see yourself as, anything that you don't want to be. Like 20 years down the road, do you want to be a smoker? No. So write no smoking. Smoking is a bad habit, or eating junk food, that's a bad habit. You should look into this and analyze it a little bit deeper. So now the steps to making it, like, accomplishing your habits. This is interesting. I'm going to take this off. Hold on. So the steps you're going to want to take to actually follow through with your habits here. First step, number one, make it obvious. Make whatever you're going to do obvious that you're going to do it. The second step, make it attractive. Make the idea of doing the right thing, of doing this habit that you've set out to do, make the idea of it attractive. Make actually doing it attractive as well. Number three, make it easy. Make it an easy thing to do. Make it something that you're not going to have to go out of your way. You're just going to make it easy for yourself. You can do it. You can get it done. And four, make it satisfying. Make it satisfying to do. It makes you feel good about yourself. It makes you excited to, like, it makes you excited to do the thing. And you're motivated to do the thing because it is satisfying. So if I want to drink water every morning, for example, one, I'm going to make it obvious. I'm going to make it obvious that I need to drink water. I'm going to take water and I'm going to put it by my bedside every night. It's obvious. I wake up, I see the water. Wow, water. Attractive. So since I've been drinking water every morning for about the past week, I notice that I have more energy and I feel better about myself. My throat isn't dry anymore, and I'm not drinking like soda or something syrupy like that, so my throat is automatically like cleared. I've cleansed my palate for the day and I'm giving myself that refreshment. It's attractive. 3, make it easy. This goes along with the first thing I did. I have water by my bedside table, so when I wake up it's easy. I can just grab the water and drink it. And satisfying. Make it satisfying. Drinking water, I don't really have to make satisfying because drinking water is already pretty satisfying. So that is how you would go about having good habits and making sure that you do them and stick to them. And the opposite is true for relieving yourself of bad habits. So you're going to want to make it obvious also. You're going to want to make it unattractive. You're going to want to make it difficult. And you're going to want to make it dissatisfying. Things you can do for that, you need to say things out loud and commit to things. so that you're reprogramming your mind automatically to do the right thing, and then the repercussions of it should be unattractive. For example, smoking, the repercussions of me smoking are going to be like lung damage, throat damage, I smell bad, I'm taking up my time that I could be doing something better and I'm smoking. Um, that is basically a rundown of how you can manage your good habits and bad habits and adjust them and keep tabs on yourself and make sure that you're doing what you should be doing. The last thing I'm going to talk about today, briefly, just because I don't want this video to be too long, I don't want to take it too long to upload, and I don't want anyone to get bored, is habit tracking, which I would definitely recommend getting yourself either a journal or apps on your phone that can help you track your habits, and you will write down what you want to do every day, and when you do it, you will check it off. So doing this gives you a list of things you're doing. So first of all, you know what you're going to do every day. So you have that already pre-planned and pre-laid out for you. It's going to be really easy to do stuff when you know exactly what you need to do every day and you have all these habits lined out for you. The second thing that this is going to help with is when you check them off, you check it off every day and it motivates you to check it off again tomorrow. You look at your journal and you're like, I went to the gym for 3 weeks straight and I've gone every single day, so I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow because I've done it every day. It was easy. Why not? And it's making a good difference in my life. That is what I would recommend to do when starting out with this. I would definitely track everything that you're doing and mark it off so that it is satisfying to yourself. And with that, I'm probably going to end this video because I don't know if I have really anything else to add that other people haven't already said about this book. But it's amazing. I would definitely recommend giving it a read for yourself if you're interested. And if not, if you don't feel like putting the time into reading your book but you still want to implement habits into your life, I would definitely recommend that as well. You could always watch more videos, do a little bit more research, and then just dive into it. Dive into it and let's see where we can go. Yeah, I hope you have a good day, and goodbye.